you chop and slice, you cut and dice, you eat you up whole. Eat you whole.
First of all, hello, Doug. Thank you for your time.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
And I want to tell you, it is a pleasure to talk to you. You already know that you have a large fan base worldwide and especially in the Middle East.
Yes. And I've had the opportunity to come meet some people and hang out with people a couple times now, and I've really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so first of all, tell us more about yourself. What inspired you to enter the gaming industry?
Well, I've always been a gamer. I've always loved games. I had one of the original Atari consoles when I was a kid, and played games like Pitfall and Tanks and all those kinds of old classics and stuff. But as an actor, it was kind of accidental. I trained to be an actor, and for theater mostly. And yeah, back in 1999, when I first moved to the UK, an agent I had met, but who wasn't my agent yet, she became my agent. I was with her for 16 years in the end. But she called me up one day, having met me recently, and she said, "You at all interested in auditioning for a character voice in a video game?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah, I didn't even know that existed." So I went off to this audition, mm-hmm. and I ended up getting the lead role. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't the first voiceover job I'd ever done, but it was certainly the first job I had done for a game. It was a whole industry that I hadn't even clocked it. It wasn't on my radar. That game was called Independence War 2, Edge of Chaos, and I played Cal, the protagonist of the game. So that's how it started. I didn't try to get into voiceovers for games. It just kind of happened. And then once I did that game, that company, Outsource Media, they brought me back for other games. And eventually I started working with other companies on different games and things. It just kind of grew organically.
I think you know that we will talk a lot about The Witcher.
Yeah.
So how did you get the audition for The Witcher? Tell us a story and how it happened.
Right. Well, The Witcher 1. Mm-hmm. I knew nothing about Andrzej Sapkowski and his books or about The Witcher. Mm-hmm. I was called in to do an audition for a new game, just like happens for a lot of games. I went in. I met a guy named Boris from a company called CD Projekt Red, mm-hmm. and really nice guy. And he was kind of running the audition. So I went into the booth and, he explained the character to me, and he described him as a warrior, kind of a reluctant warrior in some ways, and that he had no emotions, and he wanted me to go down to the lowest part of my register that I possibly could in my voice. And so we played around with that for a while. And then at one point he said to me, "Doug, think about him like Dirty Harry from the Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry films." Mm-hmm. You can just imagine, "Go ahead, punk, make my day," that kind of thing. So that's what I did. I went as low as I could. I tried to emulate Clint Eastwood in the Dirty Harry films. Mm-hmm. And a day or two later, I got the call. You got the main role.
So can we say the Clint Eastwood was the inspiration?
Yeah, it was for me. Yeah.
Okay, so Geralt of Rivia received widespread critical acclaim and became one of the most beloved characters till this day. When you were recording or doing the voice, did you ever thought it would be that big?
No. Mm-hmm. No, but I think with things like this, it's one of those things, as an actor, sometimes you get an inkling. By the time we got to Witcher 3, I kind of knew it was going to be really big. And it became much, much bigger than I expected it to be. But I knew it was going to be a big deal. But when we recorded Witcher 1, it was just another game, a cool game. I really liked it, the whole Witcher world and the characters that I was meeting and everything else. But it was just another job, just like it so often is in acting, because we move from job to job to job. And, as an actor, unless it's a really horrible project for whatever reason, which is really rare, you as an actor, you've kind of fallen in love with whatever you're doing at the given time because it's what you love doing, and exploring these different characters in these different worlds and everything and different situations is part of what excites us as actors. So it was exciting and it was thrilling, but I had no idea when we first started recording Witcher 1 just what a journey I was going to go on. So, yeah, and even after Witcher 3 came out, I still didn't fully realize it. I was teaching at the time. I used to run the BA Honors Acting course at Arts University Bournemouth. And I don't think I really realized how big Witcher 3 was until Christmas of 2015. Well, it wasn't Christmas yet. It was December though. And I got an email message from a journalist from Eurogamer. And he wanted to come and meet me at the university and do an interview. And he did. Actually, this was much later. This was 2016, actually. It was that made me realize how big the game had actually become when journalists started to seek me out to find out more about this Geralt of Rivia character and the voice behind him. And then there were things like I was nominated for a BAFTA and I won a Golden Joysticks Award and a Navigator Award. And those things started to make me kind of go, oh, wow, this is bigger than I thought it was going to be. And that was really exciting. So yeah, it was a long answer to your question, but it was,
that's good.
It was kind of a discovery process. I didn't know at the beginning what it was going to become. And even once Witcher 3 came out, I had no idea how big it was.
Did you ever play the games after the release?
I've played Witcher 1 and Witcher 2, not all the way through. These wonderful, expansive RPGs, they're fantastic, but I find it difficult to find the time to devote to them. But Witcher 3, I made the time. It took me about 6 months to get through it, but I played all the way through Witcher 3. I got the ending I wanted. Even though I couldn't remember all the choices you could make and everything else. So I had an advantage over the average player, but not so much so that I could predict what my ending would be.
As you said, your performance was nominated for a Game Award for Best Performance and won a Golden Joystick Award also for Best Performance. What was the secret? Did you get emotionally attached to the character? Yeah, I do. I did. With Geralt, it's one of those things. Actors, like I said before, we tend to move from one job to another job to another job, and we fall a little bit in love with every character we play. But the thing with Geralt is that I have been on a journey with him since 2005. That was when we recorded Witcher 1. So it's been nearly 20 years that I've been voicing Geralt of Rivia. Is that right? That is right. Wow, I hadn't thought about it that way. It's been like 17 years I've been voicing Geralt of Rivia. And for an actor, that's a real privilege. To have the time over many years to explore that character and to get to know the character and to evolve with the character as well. So yeah, I can't remember what your question was, but yeah. Did you get emotionally attached to Geralt of Rivia?
Yeah, I am. I am emotionally attached to Geralt of Rivia. He's part of me, and I'm part of him, I think, or at least the game him. How much that affected getting nominated for awards, I don't know. I have no idea. I think part of the awards thing was largely about just the popularity of the game as a whole. My performance in the game is greatly dependent on the many artists and animators and other people in CD Projekt Red who made the visual Geralt so wonderful. So the voice on its own is nothing really. It's a team effort. So
That's right.
I like seeing the game nominated for any awards because I think it's a beautiful game, and I'm really, really proud. And as I said, I feel privileged to have been a part of it.
So the last few years, we saw an expansion for The Witcher's name. We saw something more than books and video games. We saw a Netflix adaptation on TV series starring Henry Cavill, and also the upcoming animation. So did you see the Netflix adaptation?
I did. I've seen series 1 of the Netflix series with Henry Cavill as Geralt of Rivia, who I must say does a fabulous job in my opinion. And I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I loved it. I watched it twice because the first time I watched it through, I didn't clock the jumping around in time. And I clocked it about 3 or 4 episodes in, and I was like, oh, I get it. I see what they're doing. So I went back and I watched it from the beginning again. And it was better the second time because I understood better what some of the first time I watched it, it was a tiny bit confusing, but I was so into the world and into what they were doing anyways, it didn't matter. I was just like, this is cool, I love it. But the second time I understood a little bit better, what the narrative was actually doing.
So when you saw Henry Cavill for the first time as Geralt of Rivia, what was your emotions like? This is the character I've been playing for like 17 to 20 years.
Well, I think it's fair to say that there was some professional jealousy on my part, because yes, of course, I would have loved to play the Netflix Geralt. It was never going to happen, though. So my professional self knew that wasn't even likely. And when I first saw Henry as Geralt of Rivia in the full getup and everything else, I just thought, well, he looks great. I mean, Henry's a handsome guy anyways, but give him the wig and the armor and everything else, and he looks, pretty cool. So he
also did some job with the voice.
Yeah, well, he did, and I was curious what he was going to do with the voice, and I really like what he does with it, and he in an interview, I can't remember who with, but he did name my performance, me and my performance, as an inspiration for how he chose to approach his version of Geralt of Rivia, which was really nice of him to say, and very, very. I was very pleased that he felt that my performance was worthy of using as part of his template for what he ended up doing, and I think he sounds great.
Okay, so let's go back to the game. What was your favorite story part or your favorite scene that you performed?
Well, there were so many of them, and it's not like in a film or in a TV show or in the theater where you have a linear plot.
You can improvise, right?
Not really. Sometimes you get to improvise, but very rarely. It's all scripted. But I suppose what I mean is that there are so many options in some of these games. In Witcher 3, there were certainly a lot of options. There were sometimes 3 or 4 different routes through a scene, depending on certain choices that you make. So I suppose the answer to your question really is I really enjoyed the scenes, particularly with Ciri, but scenes where Geralt could show his softer side, where he could, certainly in Witcher 3, where he was allowed to, where I was allowed to explore his emotional life a little bit more. it was an interesting journey. Witcher 1, they kept saying he's emotionless. He has no emotions. And I'm going, I just don't believe that, and in the books, it's very clear in the books that he does have emotions. It's just that, the trial of the grasses and the way that Witchers live, they're forced to push down their emotions and not let them be what drives them. So yeah, it was any of the scenes with any of the other characters where Geralt gets to have a more of an emotional life were the ones I really enjoyed digging into. There, one in particular though was this scene where Geralt and Ciri, I can't remember exactly what's going on, but they're kind of laying around on the grass and they're he gives Ciri a piggyback ride and things like that. There were some scenes like that I really enjoyed.
The scenes where it shows the different side.
Yeah, well, because in so much of the game, he's seeking out monsters and he's solving problems and, all of that stuff. And he's kind of the reluctant, the anti-hero, the somewhat reluctant good guy, if you choose to play him like that.
That's right.
Yeah, because you can choose to make him a bit, a bit more of a jerk at times, depending on how you define that. But
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the fans in the Middle East, they are in love with Geralt of Rivia. Can you give us a word for your fans here in the area? Think about it like a message.
Hey, to all my friends in the Arab world, Assalamu alaikum. And I hope you're all having a wonderful day.
Thank you. So my last question is, what's next for you in the gaming industry?
Well, I've been recording several other games this year. Nothing nearly as big as with The Witcher, but some fun games. There's one in particular I'm really excited about. I can't say anything about it because I've signed an NDA.
I totally understand.
Yeah, but I think that one's going to come out September or October this year, I think. So that'll be fun. And I just shot a small scene in a new Amazon Prime TV series, which will be fun. It's just a very small role, but it was really fun to be involved. And I'm hoping more of that will happen. It's been a bit of a weird year because the entertainment industry had to basically shut down with all the coronavirus stuff.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so I've done mostly video game recording, but I've done a few other things, some commercials, regional commercials for radio and things like that. So yeah, but nothing quite on the scale of The Witcher.
So nothing about The Witcher yet.
No. And people keep asking me, what about Witcher 4, Doug? What about Witcher 4? What do you know? And I can honestly say I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing about a Witcher 4. Well, I know what everybody else knows. I know that CD Projekt is planning to do it. I think they've actually said they've started working on it. But they haven't given any other real details. I think it'll be 3 or 4 years at least before we see another Witcher game.
CD Projekt Red always takes their time with gaming development.
Yeah, and it shows in the work that they produce, So.
Okay, so I think that's all my questions. Thank you, Doug, for your time. I'm really honored to talk to you, and till next time.
Okay, till next time.
Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.